Hello students. In this lecture we are going to see one more bottom-up approach by which we are able to prepare the nanoparticles, particularly the system which is called as inert gas condensation is used for the synthesis of metal nanoparticles. So as you can see the name inert gas condensation. So you will imagine that inert gas is used for the condensation purpose. Okay, and after condensation, okay, what the final product is in the form of nanoparticles. Okay, so nanoparticle condensation is take place with the help of inert gas. So the inert gas condensation process is one of the most known and simplest technique for the production of nanoparticles. So it is not a new technique, okay, it is an old technique, and many scientists know about this. This is commonly used technique for the synthesis of nanoparticles, okay. And this is the simplest technique because you don't need a very high sophisticated instruments, okay, equipments, okay. You just need a chamber where you are able to evacuate it and make some vacuum. So that is the one of the essential requirement of this system. So in that sense it is a simple technique and the processing is not complicated, okay. So there are several steps. If you just follow them, then what the final product you are getting is nanoparticles. So in that sense we call this as a simplest technique. So an inorganic material, okay, so this is an important condition because inorganic materials are stable in most of the atmospheric conditions, okay. So it is easy to prepare the inorganic material. So inorganic material, particularly a metal, is vaporized or evaporated, okay, or sputtered, okay. So you can vaporize it by using sputtering technique, or you can evaporate it by supplying heat energy, okay. So by either mean you have to evaporate or vaporize the metal from a heated metallic source into a chamber. So chamber is a cavity where all these things are are inserted, okay. So into a chamber which has been previously evacuated to 10 to minus 7 torr inside a vacuum chamber into which an inert gas, typically argon or helium, okay. So you are aware that there are inert gases. The most popular inert gas is argon, and the other inert gases like helium, neon, krypton, these are very expensive. So in most of the common laboratories argon is used as an inert gas. So that inert gas is periodically admitted to a low pressure, okay. So something it looks like this, okay. Okay, so here you can see that this is a schematic image of the inert gas condensation technique, where you can see that basically it has a chamber, okay. So square, big square is represents a chamber that is called as a main chamber, okay. And then you can see that there are some cuvettes, okay. Cuvettes are kept where you can keep your source material. Source material means any kind of a metal. Suppose you are taking iron, or you are taking silver, or you are taking gold, okay. Any kind of material in which you are interested to prepare its nanoparticles. These metals you can kept in the cuvettes, where these cuvettes you can heat it, okay, so that it will increase the temperature of the cuvette, and you are able to vaporize these metal sources. So there are cuvettes inside this chamber. Then there is a one more thing which is called as an finger. Okay, so from top there one rod, okay, hollow rod, one hollow rod is inserted in the chamber in such a way that it will act as a collector. Okay, so basically when the metal nanoparticles are formed, they will be get collected on this finger. Okay, and this hollow tube is basically is hollow because you have to pass some coolant. Okay, you can use in ideal case you can use liquid nitrogen, but again it is expensive. So some of the people in most of the laboratory they use chilled water. Okay, so that the purpose is just to keep that rod at a low temperature. Okay, so that type of rod is there, chamber is there, cuvettes is there. Okay, and then what you can do is the pump is connected to the chamber so that you can evacuate, you can create the vacuum, and then once you create the vacuum, you have to insert the inert gas. Okay, inert gas is important because it is not reacting with the metal nanoparticles. So if you are interested in preparing pure metal nanoparticles in powder form, then it is essential to use the inert gas. Okay, so you have to insert the inert gas, and once the inert gas is inserted, then you have to increase the temperature of the cuvettes. So when the temperature of the cuvettes is increasing, initially your source solid material, source metal sources is present in the solid material. Then as the temperature is increasing, it initially melts, then it start to boil, and if you go above boiling point, then it started to evaporate. So then these evaporated metal atoms, they come in contact with the inert gas and start to condense. Okay, and eventually these condensed particles they get collected on the finger. Once you collect on the finger, then you can they also have a chamber which is called as a particle collector. So where once you stop the system, and if you there is an arrangement in such a way that you can collect the powder in a particle collector. Okay, and then you can use it, you can take it out, or you can compress it inside another chamber which will not oxidize it, and you can compress it in the form of a disc or any kind of a shape in which you are interested. So you may get your final product either in the form of powder if you want individual powder, or if you want a dense material, then you have to compact it. You have to compress this powder in the form of a compact disc. Okay, so this is a simple technique, as you can see here. Okay, so once the atoms of the material boil off, they quickly lose their energy by colliding with the inert gas. Okay, so initially when the metal source is evaporating, okay, so these metal atoms they lose their energy once they come in contact with the inert gas. So the vapor cools rapidly, okay, because they lose their energy, so they cools rapidly and supersaturates to form nanoparticles. So there is a nucleation and growth take place in the gas phase. Okay, in the gas phase. So the typical particle size is in the range of 2 to 100 nanometer that collect on a finger. So that as I said, this is called as a finger, where you can collect it, and the finger is cooled by liquid nitrogen. So you can see the range of the nanoparticle you can prepare in the range of 2 to 100 nanometer in which we are interested. Okay, so the particle size can be controlled by varying the inert gas pressure. Okay, suppose someone want to change the particle size. Okay, someone wanted to make the powder with two different particle size, let us say 10 nanometer, okay, and another powder if you want to prepare at 80 nanometer. Okay, so if you want two different particle sizes, okay, then you have to run the system at different inert gas pressure, okay, because you can see initially the chamber the pressure in the chamber is 10 raised to minus 7 torr, okay. So there is a low pressure, okay, 10 raised to minus 7. When you insert the nitrogen gas, how much amount of ppm you are inserting, okay, depending upon that the pressure inside the chamber get vary, okay. If you insert a lot of inert gas, okay, if you insert a lot of inert gas, then the pressure which is 10 raised to minus 7 torr, it will increases to 10 raised to minus 2 torr, okay. So in that case there is a large number of inert gas molecules are present in the chamber, and if there is a large number of inert gas molecules, then the condensation will be faster, okay. So in that case you are getting some particular size. But if you slightly insert some amount of gas, then the pressure which is initially 10 raised to minus 7 torr will go to 10 raised to minus 4 torr. Then in that case the amount of inert gas molecules is slightly less. So where the condensation take place slowly, okay. So this is the way that you are able to control the particle size of the nanoparticles by controlling their condensation with the help of inert gas, okay. So this is all about the inert gas condensation, but in order to understand how effective this method is and how it is useful for making some complex nanostructured hybrid nanostructured particles, I have taken one example where it is given in the reference which is shown here, okay. So this synthesis of nanoparticle is given by Benel McKee, okay. This is the name of the scientist, and they have published their work in the journal Materials Chemistry and Physics. The volume of the journal is 151. It is published in the year 2015, and the page number of the article is 275 to 281. So if you wanted to know more detailed information about this technique, how which parameters they are using, and what type of applications they are looking for, so that you can find in this paper. So as far as the synthesis is concerned, okay, we are trying to understand how they have used inert gas condensation method to prepare the ternary metallic dielectric core shell nanoparticles, okay. So core shell is a special type of nanoparticle where you can see that it has a core inside and shell is from the outside, okay. So you can imagine mango, which is favorite to all of us, okay. So you can see in mango, so you cannot eat the whole mango as it is, okay, because there is a seed inside, big seed is inside, and it is covered by the mango pulp, right. So there is a seed inside the mango, and the mango pulp is covered by that seed. So that seed is called as an core, and the mango pulp which is outer side, in which we all are interested, is you can consider it as a shell, okay. So this kind of a material you can imagine, okay. So there is some metal nanoparticle is inside, okay, let us say silver or some kind of an metal nanoparticle is inside, and then you are making a shell of some different material which is covering that metal nanoparticle from outside, okay. So this type of an nanoparticles is called as a core shell nanoparticle, and in this paper basically they have focused on the synthesis of ternary metallic. Ternary means they have used 3 different metals, so that's why they are calling ternary metallic, and the core. So this is a ternary metallic is is your core, and the dielectric material. So dielectric is basically have a different properties. It is an insulating in nature. So that dielectric material is used as an shell. So this type of material has been prepared by inert gas condensation in this given reference. Okay. So let us try to understand how they have used how they have synthesized this material by using inert gas condensation method. So first figure shows the sketch of the nanoparticle source used in this study. So basically you can see this is the system. The system looks like this. Okay. Now there are two chambers in this system. Okay. One chamber is in the downward case and another chamber is in the upward case. Okay. In the downward case chamber, we can see there are three different sources of the metals. For example, silver, iron, and silicon. Okay. And as I said, you have to vaporize it. Okay. So you can either you can evaporate it by using thermal evaporation technique, or you can vaporize them by using a simple DC sputtering technique. Because all are metal, so you are well familiar that we can use a DC sputtering technique for which contains the plasma, and you are able to vaporize the material by using the sputtering process. Okay. So the pressure, okay, inside this chamber is 10⁻⁻1 millibar. Okay, so pressure is sufficiently high because we have already inserted the inert gas for the generation of plasma to vaporize these nanoparticles. Then you can see that on the top of this this chamber there is an aperture. Okay, so there is an aperture which is basically allowing to pass the nanoparticles to the another chamber, and there is in the upper section there is one more chamber. Okay, so where they are basically collecting these nanoparticles on the substrate, but you can see that here the pressure is low, which is 10⁻⁵ millibar. Okay, so in the upper side the pressure is low, in the downward side the pressure is high. So it helps, this pressure gradient is basically helps to fly these nanoparticles from bottom to the top, so that you are able to collect these particles on the substrate. Okay, and what this traveled nanoparticles is called as a nanocluster beam, because they are traveling from a long distance from source to the substrate. So it is they are traveling with a very high mean free path, and because of that we call them as a beam. So, and because these nanoparticles are just attached to each other, so we call them as a nanocluster beam. Okay, so this is the fundamental technique which they have used in their paper, and trying to understand how the material is can be synthesized with this technique. So you can see some of the regions are represented with the letters A, B, and C. So these are the three major regions. So A is indicating the aggregation zone, where the three, that is silver, silicon, and iron targets are DC co-sputtered in an argon atmosphere. So you are well aware that argon is the most common inert gas which is used for the sputtering process, but we call this as a co-sputtering. So what is co-sputtering? Co-sputtering is nothing but simultaneous sputtering of all three targets. Okay, so we have three targets, silicon, iron, and silver, and they are simultaneously sputtered at the same time. So we called it as a co-sputtering. The working pressure is 10⁻⁻1 millibar. Okay, so this is the pressure inside this chamber A. B indicates the aperture, as I said, and C indicates the main chamber where nanoparticles are deposited on the substrate. So the pressure maintained for chamber C is 10⁻⁵ millibar. And as I said that the nanoparticles are extracted and accelerated by this gradient in the pressure between the aggregation zone A and the deposition chamber C through the aperture B. So this is the how they have beautifully used the role of pressure to collect more efficiently these nanoparticles. Okay, so this is the their system by which they are able to prepare the ternary metal dielectric core shell nanoparticles. Now, as far as the mechanism is concerned, we can see that they have explained the mechanism of formation of HNPs. HNP is nothing but hybrid nanoparticle. This is a short form of hybrid nanoparticles, because we are using metals which is more than one, okay, in number. So we have silver, we have iron, we have silicon. So it is a hybrid system. Okay, so that's why we call this as a hybrid nanoparticles. So we can see that step by step how it grows. So this is the step 1, okay, where step 1 shows the nucleation and growth phase. Okay, so nucleation and growth is taking place in the plasma zone near the surface of the sputtered targets. So it is shown in the on the left hand side schematic representation, where you can see that the blue color is silver atoms, silver target is there, iron target is there, okay, and silicon target is there. Okay, so near the silver target there is a blue colored atoms are vaporized. Okay, iron target is there. Okay, then silicon target is there, and argon ions are there. Okay, argon ions is basically is doing what? They are sputtered out the atoms, and electrons are there. Okay, so you can see that they are co-sputtering. So the argon is equally is present on the top of all these metal targets. Okay, and then once they sputtered, then the iron, silver, and silicon atoms they just sputtered out, vaporized in the form of a gas, and near the surface of these targets inside the plasma there is a nucleation and growth of these nanoclusters has been take place. So second point is that, so not only silver atoms they form the nanoclusters, the iron atoms they come together, they also form iron nanoclusters. So you have nanoclusters of silver, nanoclusters of iron, and nanoclusters of silicon. Okay, in the gas in the vaporized state. In the step 2, there is a collision, okay, which is called as a cluster collision. Okay, there is a collision in between the nanoclusters. Okay, so we call this as a cluster collision. So the iron and silver nanoclusters, okay, juxtapose, forming dumbbell like shaped nanoparticles. So juxtapose means they are coming together and they attach to each other and form like they are together. Okay, they are being together with each other. Okay, so the iron and silver nanoparticles they come together and form dumbbell like shaped nanoparticles. Okay, then the silicon nanoclusters cover, okay, because silicon nanoclusters are also present there. Okay, so basically the chemistry of this silicon with Fe and Ag is different. Okay, so that's why the silicon nanoclusters they cover the surface of the iron and silver nanoclusters, resulting in the formation of core shell structure. Okay, so basically this is the beauty of different chemical nature of these elements. Okay, so iron and silver they just come together, okay, and form a dumbbell shape, dumbbell like nanoparticles. But when the silicon nanoclusters are coming in contact with these two, then what happens? They result in the formation of a core shell structure, and that is shown on the left hand side schematic image where there is a collision of iron and silver nanoclusters, then the silver nanoclusters cover the iron and silver silicon nanoclusters cover the iron and silver nanoparticles, and once it cover, then what you are getting is inside in the core there are two metals, okay, silver and iron, and what you can see is that silicon nanocluster has got formation of a shell. Okay. In step 3 you can see there is a coalescence. Okay. So, coalescence is a very common effect has been observed where even in the where even if the environment is liquid or even in the environment of the gases, when there is a formation of nanoparticles, there is a coalescence is taking place. Because of this coalescence of hybrid nanoparticles, 2, 3, 4, okay, number of these core shells, they are coming together, and because there is an resident time, because these nanoparticles are traveling okay, as a long distance from the source to the substrate, then in the meanwhile what happen is some of the nanoparticles they just coalescence with each other, and they are getting multiple cores. Okay. So, due to coalescence there are multiple cores and this shell is equally just diffused in each other, and there is a formation of single particle, but it has a multiple cores. Okay. So, this is the way that how these nanoparticles are going to form. Okay. So, just for as an example, you can see I have taken this image from the same paper, where you can see that this is a transmission electron microscopic image, and you can see that the particle size has got varied. Okay, from there is a small particle which is in the range of typically 15 nanometer to as big as 90 nanometer or 95 nanometer, okay, roughly. Okay. So, you can, what I wanted to emphasize here is that you can see in from the TM image, you can see that some of the cores, how the number of cores has been varied. So, there is a particle you can see, okay, at the center of this image where there is a single black dot which is present in the core, okay, and slightly dark gray, okay, is representing the shell. Okay. So, okay, so black dot is representing the core, and the gray colored region around it represents the shell. So, here there is no that coalescence has been take place, but in other particles you can see that the number of core has been increased. The number of core has been increased, and there are some particles where you have the the metal iron and silver based nanoclusters. They are situated inside the core section, and the shell is formed from the outside. Okay. So, this is the way that how you are able to prepare the nanoparticles of different types by using the inert gas condensation technique. Okay. So, so this is all about this inert gas condensation technique. I will stop here, and we'll see a new technique in our next lecture. Thank you.